So they will be commencing the human reproduction. Most important chapter, human reproduction. Okay. So before commencing human reproduction, we'll talk about Anurag was asking about strobulation. Okay. So strobulation happens in cnidarians, right? Jellyfish and all, that is a transverse division. It's kind of like transverse binary fission in the transverse plane or the horizontal plane. Okay, so if you learn about phylum, you'll be knowing it better. If you learned about cnidaria, then you can say Coelenterata and all that, right? So that is known as strobulation. So coming on to human reproduction. Okay, so what is human reproduction? We have a term known as puberty. So puberty is what? Who can tell me? What is puberty? What is puberty, right? Puberty, at least you should be knowing, right? Puberty.
So physical changes through which a child's body grow towards maturity.
That is maturity. But puberty technically is, your answer is partly correct, Harshvardhan. Puberty is technically something known as sexual competence. In two words, if I have to describe, that is sexual competence. Sexual competence means the day on which, if you talk about Homo sapiens, the human beings, the day on which the humans, the males, or they have commenced to produce sperms, functional sperms, if I have started to produce, or if the females have ovulated for the first time and produced ovum, okay, then it will lead to eventual bleeding. So it is known as the first menstrual bleeding. Okay, after the, you can say the luteal phase, we have the follicular phase, we have the ovulatory phase and luteal, then the menstrual phase, that is the bleeding phase. The first bleeding is known as the menarche, you might be knowing. That is the first time you have entered the puberty, onset of puberty has set in. That is known as sexual competence. Before attaining puberty, you can never directly, or you are not competent enough to get pregnant or to give rise to young birth. You are incompetent for reproduction, right? Can you reproduce without attaining? Like, can a 5-year-old and 6-year-old give rise to a child? No, right? Because there will be no sperm. It cannot fertilize the egg. And if at all there is sperm, there is no ovum to be fertilized. You cannot give rise to a kid, right? You cannot give rise to a zygote who will mature via blastogenesis, blastocyst formation, embryo, then gastrulation and all that. But nothing will happen because you are not able to produce either sperm or egg. That is the meaning of puberty. Now my simple question is, this question nobody asks, but I ask always, how is puberty delayed? How is puberty delayed? That is my question. Okay. How is puberty delayed? Means why do we attain puberty at the age of 10 years to 12 years of age? Why not 3, 4, 5, 6 years of age? Getting my question? Did you understand the question? Question understood, everyone?
सर उसे डील करने में दिक्कत होगा फिर तब पहले ही अगर हो जाएगा।
डील करने मतलब अंडरस्टैंड डील क्या करोगे?
मतलब सर जैसे
Anyone else? Anurag has some deal issue. Couldn't understand. Abhinav?
So maybe some hormones maybe get produced after a certain age.
There is some hormones. Your random guess is correct. Some hormone is there. That hormone's name is what? Hormone's name is melatonin. This melatonin hypersecretion, it kind of does what? It kind of inhibits GnRH secretion. What is GnRH? Class 11th endocrinology. What is GnRH? You have to deal with a lot of hormones in this chapter. What is GnRH? Forgot what is GnRH? GnRH. GnRH. Gonadotropin releasing hormone. Gonadotropin, or I can say gonadotropin releasing hormone. Do you remember this hormone now? Gonadotropin releasing hormone.
yes sir.
Good. Gonadotropin. Let's break this down into gonad plus trophic. Gonad means testis or ovum. Sorry, testis or ovary. Right? These are the sex organs. Testis or ovary. Trophic means growth. You might have heard of atrophy, hypertrophy, low growth, excessive growth. So these hormone results in growth, right? It is known as gonadotropin. Okay. So next up is we have something known as gonadotropin releasing hormone. Now after a gonadotropin releasing hormone is released, what happens is then it will go and bind to which gland? Pituitary gland. Okay, the hypophyseal gland or hypophysis, technical name. It will cause it to secrete the
So
FSH.
which gland?
Pituitary. Pituitary is known as also hypophyseal.
Yes.
Okay, hypophyseal gland. Technical name. Okay, that is why we call it neurohypophysis and adenohypophysis. If you remember class 11, the anterior pituitary is known as neurohypophysis. Sorry, the anterior pituitary is known as adenohypophysis and the posterior is known as neurohypophysis, right? So that is why we call it hypophyseal, because we are calling it adeno. Look, adeno hypophysis. So hypophyseal gland, this one. Adeno and neuro, right? This is anterior, this is posterior.
Excuse me, sir.
Ask, ask,
I have a question.
ask.
Like, example, if they ask the same question, how is puberty delayed? So can we answer like CHH or like due to CHH or CDGP?
You can answer like that also. Okay, but you have to explain then what is the concept, okay, of the puberty delayed or the delay in the puberty, the concept. You're talking about which one? CRH or CHH?
So CHH.
So you have to explain that then full form. Getting? So you have to explain the CRH theory, then the CHH theory, and then CDH1 if you want to explain, right? So those things are there. So we have something known as, there is a lung disease also, but I don't see this thing. CDH. You have known that is known as congenital diaphragmatic hernia. So there is a herniation in the diaphragm in, you can say, the newborns. Okay. So what happens is it starts all from melatonin. I'll explain to you how. We have something known as hypothalamus. Okay. We have something known as hypothalamus. If you make a simple diagram, okay, of hypothalamus, so it looks like this. We have multiple, it here, the smaller diagram. Then we go to produce something known as pituitary gland. Okay. So we have divisions of hypothalamus. There's a 4 divisions if I put. We have different nuclei. Okay. We have different nuclei. I'll name those all things here. Arcuate, then ventromedian, dorsomedian. This side is the mammillary nucleus and EHN. This is the anterior segment of the hypothalamus. MTON is what? That is median preoptic nucleus. Nucleus is what? Neuroanatomically, in the central nervous system, means spinal cord and brain. If you have something known as cluster of cell body, cluster of cell body, or any part of the neuron. Cell body is the cyton, or you have the dendrite. So any part of the neuron, okay, which does not have the myelin sheath, that is gray matter. Cluster of cell body surrounded by white matter. Okay, suppose you have 100 cell body, and then it is surrounded by myelinated axons throughout. So this is known as a nucleus. Okay. And each nucleus in our central nervous system, we have more than 200 nuclei. Okay, each nucleus in our central nervous system performs a specific function. Okay, that is why our brain is so complex. Okay, that is the MTON. Next up is, if you talk about next one, SCN. And write down that is suprachiasmatic nucleus. These things are asked in your competitive examination. Then we have SON, that is the supraoptic nucleus. This is mainly used to release oxytocin. Okay. Then you have the paraventricular nucleus. Paraventricular. Mainly used to release vasopressin, or ADH, as it is known as antidiuretic hormone. Then we have the arcuate. Arcuate is the one that releases GnRH. Always know the fact. Arcuate releases GnRH. Ventromedial and dorsomedial nucleus, VMN and DMN, are not in your course. AHN is known as anterior hypothalamic. That is known as autonomic control. Anterior hypothalamic nucleus. Okay, in NEET exam, directly they'll ask about the nucleus. Also, this one, paraventricular, it releases CRH, corticotropin releasing hormone, and TRH, thyrotropin releasing hormone. Okay, know this for a fact. Okay, they also release these two hormones. And PHN is posterior hypothalamus. So PHN and AHN, they control these sympathetic and parasympathetic divisions respectively of the autonomic nervous system. Okay, so this is for autonomic nervous system, ANS you can say, which has sympathetic SNS and parasympathetic PNS. So this you should be knowing at all times, okay, regarding the hypothalamus. Okay, this is the anterior view. Laterally, there is also one more nucleus, lateral nucleus, but that is not in your course. So this much you should be knowing, except you can say DMN and VMN and MPON. Okay, every other nuclei you should be knowing. Now, what is the function of SCN? Does anyone know? SCN, I didn't write the function. Suprachiasmatic nucleus. What is the function of SCN? Function of SCN, try. Have you heard of this one? Circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm. Anyone? Have you heard? Abhinav, Prakriti, Ayushi, Anurag must have heard. Circadian rhythm. Did you sleep yesterday, everyone? At night? If you have slept, your circadian rhythm is going well. Circadian rhythm means sleep-wake cycle, or you can call it the biological clock, right? So SCN is a nucleus which is responsible for comprehending intensity of light. If the intensity of light is very, very low, sunlight, then it will stimulate the pineal gland, which is present in the which part? Epithalamus, hypothalamus, pineal gland, and pineal gland would then release melatonin. And melatonin would cause sleep induction, okay, via GABAergic pathway, gamma aminobutyric acid. Those neurotransmitters or those neurotransmitter secreting neurons would be then activated later on. This one, if it detects less light intensity, means night has come and you are taking in, you can say, artificial light source, it will understand the frequency of light, okay, and then gradually it will lead to sleep induction. That is the work of, you can say, suprachiasmatic nucleus. Understood this pathway? Entire thing. Any doubt in hypothalamus? Anyone? Any doubt? Vasishti, Sapna, Anuj, Anamika, Abhinav?
No, sir.
Oh.
So, what is the use of melatoxin?
Use of
So, use of melatoxin with the
melatonin.
hypothalamus.
Melatonin, you are asking. This one.
Sir, I'm asking.
This one, right? Melatonin.
Yes, sir.
Melatonin would be not released by hypothalamus. This specific nucleus would stimulate pineal gland or pineal gland. Okay, this is present in epithalamus region of the diencephalon. Pineal gland
Oh.
would release melatonin. Okay, low light would stimulate suprachiasmatic. This would stimulate pineal. Pineal would stimulate melatonin. Melatonin would cause sleep induction. Then you feel sleepy. Okay. It would stimulate in the end GABAergic neurons, which will secrete GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid, okay, which is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. So all the sleeping pills, tranquilizers that we take, right? Alprazolam, Valium, right? These are nothing but GABA analog. Scientists have designed those drugs by mimicking the structure of GABA. Okay, that is GABA analog theory. Okay, so let's come to Understood this one now? Satish?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So next is, if I ask you, where does, you can say, the sexual competence attaining occur? What will be your answer? Answer will be not testes, not ovary. Okay. Answer will be brain. It all starts in the brain. Can you tell me which region? For reproduction, let's come to a little bit about evolution. By the great legend Charles Robert Darwin. Okay. What did he say about evolution? For any species to evolve, they must have earlier onset of puberty, because if you delay puberty, you are delaying your chances of reproduction, and then they must reproduce in large numbers. I'm not going into extreme detail here because we have chapter 7, but this much about Darwinism or neo-Darwinism. This is mostly neo-Darwinism. Okay, large numbers. Neo means modified Darwinism, introducing large numbers. Now, why has Darwin and the scientists after Darwin have emphasized so much on reproduction? Because if you don't reproduce, you are not going to generate, you are not going to produce enough progeny. If you don't produce progenies, how will your species survive? Survival of the species, you might have heard, the fittest and all. So in order to survive, first you must have the number, right? If you're only one remaining, you may die at any point of time where species got extinct, right? You must have some ample amount of number at your hand. Okay, so reproduce in large numbers. You must have a lot of progeny. In earlier onset of puberty, if you have earlier onset of puberty, you will be able to reproduce a large number. And Darwin wants you to give rise. Okay, not me. Darwin wants everybody to give rise to children. Okay, just be a machine of reproduction, produce children. That is what Darwin says. Because as far as he is concerned, and he is partly correct as well, that if you don't give rise to children, your species will get terminated. In order to increase the chances of survival, probability of survival for a long period of time, you must give rise to tons of progeny. That even if 10 die, 10 are still remaining. Okay, like that. So he is working on that theory. So that is the theory of evolution. But simply asking this perspective, like as humans, would you marry anyone just for the sake of reproduction? That we need to, or we are so very concerned about protecting the human species that I'll marry anyone and we start giving rise to progenies. Will you marry anyone or you will select? What is the theory which happens with humans? Selection or marrying anyone? What happens? This is a very tough question or easy question? I think it's an easy question, right? One doesn't marry just anyone, right? Selection. Selection is based upon what? Who can tell? Suppose one is selecting somebody to marry, it is based upon what entity? What are the criteria? Or there is no criteria as such. Anyone can be selected. Anurag, what is the criteria for selection? Selection criteria. Selection criteria should be what? Mansi? If your answer will lead to biological explanation. Because nothing happens by always know in biology, nothing happens by emotions. Like we might have been taught that we are very, very emotional creature, but I can prove everything has a neural circuit. Okay, nothing happens by mere emotion. Emotion is nothing. If I remove that part of the brain, you will not be emotional, you will not feel pain, you will not feel love, you will not feel rage, nothing. Everything is controlled by neurotransmitters and signals. Okay, white matter connections, circuits in the brain. That's all. Try answering how will you understand or how will you select an individual to marry? Selection criteria, general selection criteria I'm asking. Like how does a person go about it? Normally, that thing.
सर इंटरेस्ट होना चाहिए, मतलब सेम होना चाहिए, मतलब मान लो उल्टा हो दोनों का तो
Ulta ho. One more thing, if you should, both should earn something. ये something कुछ नहीं खा रहे हैं and you are trying to marry, what will you eat? Right? At least some earning must be there, right? But very first thing that you said is right. Interest, compatibility. And the very first thing is attraction or not. If you don't feel attracted to each other, will you ever try to marry that person? No. How does attraction come into this equation? The first method or the first step is attraction, right or wrong? Does anybody differ from me that it is not attraction, the first step? If you want to marry a boy or a girl, the first step is what? Attraction. You must like the person, right? The face value, you must like him, right? Face, body, physique, whatever it is, you must like the person. So attraction. How does attraction happen? Via limbic system in the brain. So this system controls reproduction. Limbic system is made up of, if you draw limbic system, come to class 11th part again, if you have this brain here, okay, this side is the hippocampus region, okay, this side is the amygdala, okay, you have something known as hypothalamus here, okay, you have something known as thalamus here, okay. Then you have something known as cingulate gyrus here, okay. Cingulate, cingulate gyrus, okay. Sulci and gyrus you might be aware of from class 11th. Now I'll show you a circuit. Okay, I'll draw a circuit for you. This is hippocampus. Hippocampus is connected to the mammillary body of hypothalamus via this white matter structure. This white matter structure is known as fornix. Okay. Then this one. This will go and bind to thalamus. Okay, anterior thalamic nuclei. That is the from the mammillary body of the hypothalamus or mammillary nucleus that you saw to the anterior thalamic nuclei. That is the mammillothalamic connection or tract. This one. This will go and bind to Mr. Cingulate gyrus. Go through cingulate gyrus. Okay. Come back here into a special region known as ectorhinal cortex. Go back and bind to hypothalamus. See, the circuit is being completed just like in physics. It started from here, here, back, here, again coming back to hippocampus. This is our hippocampus. This is our ectorhinal cortex. This one is our hypothalamus. This one is our thalamus. These are all the parts of the limbic system. This one is our cingulate gyrus. Very, very responsible for emotion. Whatever emotion we have in love or pain or rage or whatever we have, as emotion, sorrow, everything is controlled by cingulate gyrus. That we start crying, pouring tears out, all is cingulate gyrus. This one is a very interesting stuff, amygdala. Have you heard of this ever? Amygdala, anyone? This region. Prakriti, have you heard of it? Amygdala? Or anyone else? Anurag, Abhinav, amygdala region, have you heard of it? Has anyone heard of this amygdala? Amygdala, you might have heard. I think somewhere you might have heard. You can unmute and say, I haven't muted you. You start interacting, otherwise it becomes quite boring. I'm talking to myself only. And Amika, have you heard of this amygdala region?
So it is related to emotions.
Yeah, emotions, mostly it is related to pain. Sorry, yeah, related to fear. Okay, you can write it down. Related to fear. Mainly emotion regarding fear. How scared you are, intimidated you are. Okay, there is a region from amygdala to, you can say, hypothalamus, short region. Okay, these two are also connected. This pathway is known as striae or stria terminalis, ST pathway. Again, a white matter connection. Connections are by white matter. These are the nuclear gray matter. They are made up of millions of cell bodies, and connection is by myelinated axon. So this is your limbic system. Okay. So attraction and all, everything happens via limbic system. And this circuit that I showed you, not this stria terminalis one, this one, from hippocampus. Okay, this one. I went to hypothalamus, thalamus, cingulate gyrus, back to ectorenal cortex, back to hippocampus. This circuit is known by the name as Papez circuit. We write it as PAPEZ, but we don't pronounce PZ. Papez circuit. So this circuit causes complete emotional response. Getting attraction, hate, then killing, then you can say murdering or putting acid on someone, whatever, or doing harm to someone, planning against someone, crying, okay, getting out of hand, like completely losing mental stability. All those things are controlled by limbic system. So if you are really feeling attracted, who is getting stimulated here? This is hypothalamus. Hypothalamus then will have arcuate nucleus. Arcuate nucleus would in the end start to produce GnRH, right? Arcuate nucleus would produce eventually more and more GnRH, which would lead to pituitary gland producing FSH and LH, right? And here starts your reproductive cycle. Okay, hormonal level increases, then estrogen, testosterone increases, then the attraction becomes more and more powerful, and then, right, biologically, then we enter the competence phase of reproduction, right, where we can give rise to individuals. Is it clear, everyone? Today's lecture, any kind of doubts, queries? Prakriti, any more doubt? Ayushi, Harshvardhan, Anuj, Anamika, any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Oh. Prakriti, any doubt today? Okay then, so we'll meet tomorrow again. Okay, thank you.